My name is Pascal. Today we're going to have a closer look at the Rogue flip down safeties. If you want to know more about Rogue or about me, please follow the links in the description box below. I have written extensive articles about Rogue Fitness and about their products. So if you want to start a home gym, that is definitely a place to go to read up and smarten up. So the Rogue flip down safeties come in pairs, like you can see here, for an RM4 rack or an RM6 rack. So these are the long versions of this Rogue flip down safeties. You also can get them in a shorty version for the RM3. They also come with safety pins, which you can see here over to the right, these two. And these safety pins are actually also something that I'd like to point out, which make all the difference to other vendors and why you pay more for Rogue Fitness. So you see here, the red bit clearly shows you where the safety actually has to go in. And then this bit here, so here it's basically a grenade pin to also, again, make it even more safe and loop it through to the end here, if you can see that. And it is attached by a little string so that you actually won't lose this little grenade pin here when you're working out. So alone, this little piece of string here alone, this is usually manual labor. So somebody actually has to really get this done so that you have the convenience of not losing these pins when you are about to work out and when you keep these in your gym. And these little things really make the difference between Rogue Fitness and Titan Fitness or other vendors in the market. They just go the extra mile because they already know in product design that you're going to lose this thing if you don't take care of it. So attach it directly rather than put it on the consumer to do that. So here you see the whole kit, and now I will show you a bit more about the details of these safeties themselves and then the installation. Here you can see some other features of the Rogue flip down safeties which protect your rack but also make it very easy to install them. So here you see that actually one pin is longer and the other one is shorter, which makes it a lot easier to loop these into your rack than other safety pins which usually come in from the front and have to be pushed through. Rogue also took care to actually put some plastic padding on the ends of the flip down safeties. So this means that you won't have as much banging of the rack itself, which usually makes the color chip. So here also there are some preventive measures against wear and tear where you usually would take them out the most and have scratches and all of that kind of stuff going on. Now where Rogue, I think personally, could have done a little better, they have this protection up at the top here for anyone who drops the barbell from above onto the flip down safeties. And that is of course usually the way that it is being used. But what they've overlooked is some people also like to actually do pushes, bench presses especially, or also deadlift pulls against their safety pins from below. And from below, you don't have this protective plastic sheet. So if you already have someone who likes to heavily manipulate the range of motion with either bands or with these kind of safety pins or flip down safeties, then they most likely would also want this protection from both sides. Now, me personally, I'm not such a user. I just got the flip down safeties because the safety pins were out of stock when I was buying from Rogue during the pandemic. But if I would have one suggestion to make these things even better, I'd say also put one of these plastic sheets that you see here also on the bottom of the Rogue flip down safeties. So let's get to installing the safeties, which is very, very, very simple. So I have the safeties here. I usually like to install them from the inside so that this little hook actually presses against the inside of the rack rather than having it on the outside, because on the outside it can swing out when you don't put the safety in. The little, red thing with the grenade pin that I've showed you before. So I usually use them without that. and therefore install them from the inside in so that the hook actually pushes out against the upright. So very, very simple. I usually go on upright 11 on the monster rack. You actually get in the long pin, then the short pin on the other side, and then you just flip them down. And that's the whole thing. So now you have installed your flip down safety. I think they're excellent for a setup where you don't have really a lot of space, because safety pins have the problem that you have to go to the front of the rack and then have the entire length of the safety pin actually available to then feed it through to the back to then have your safety ready. Also, if you're dropping your weight quite often, then I think the flip down safeties are a better option than safety pins. Because with safety pins, if you drop the barbell once on them, they're usually quite warped. Whereas these flip down safeties, for my taste, will probably take a couple of drops from a decent height before they actually warp and malform. Where the safety pins are just a one-stop shop, basically. They protect you once, but after that, they're gone. So also in a small setup, you can see you can easily actually flip it in just like I showed you. If you want to take it out, same thing, flip towards you, right? Then get the short pin out, the long pin out, drop down, done. So here's a little close-up of the wear and tear after a year of use. So you can see that actually the barbell has eaten a little into the PVC here on top of the flip down safeties. I personally don't do a lot of rack pulls or any kind of stretching on this, and the markings that you see here are from the Rogue Ohio Power barbell stainless steel with the aggressive knurling. So that is probably one of the most aggressive knurlings that you can get from Rogue after they've introduced the Agro barbell. It's now probably the third most aggressive, but still it is definitely on the higher ups. So if you were to use this commercially with a lot of people who would abuse this, you might want to ask Rogue or come up with a way on how you can actually swap the top here, the plastic bit. I think it's rather easy to do that. You just have to get the right measurements and cut it, and then use the holes that are already provided. But it is something to think about if you have a lot of people who will heavily abuse these in your gym, because if you're looking at these, you're probably already thinking along those lines. To summarize on the flip down safeties, I think they definitely do what it says on the tin. They're well made, they're easy to use, and they provide you with a lot of extra safety, especially if you are intending to do a lot of rack pulls, or the west side method when you're doing that a lot, or if you are regularly squatting and bench pressing more than 300 or 400 pounds, then these will work more than once when you drop your weight, whereas the regular safety pins would only work once really. Afterwards they are warped and a bit cumbersome to use. It still works, but it's not nice. And also if you are intending to put your rack into a very, very small space where you can't take the 2 to 3 steps in front to actually install a safety pin and feed it through, then these flip down safeties are also a nice alternative for you. Would I personally get them again for my home gym? Probably not, because to be honest, I'm not getting the use out of them. I don't drop my weights very often. I don't use band packs that often, or the West Side model that often, and that kind of type of training. So I would probably go with the safety pins. If I had a redo and the money saved, I'd probably spend it on a landmine or on a socket pull bar, which are roughly the same price that you have to add on for the flip down safeties. But as I bought through the pandemic, that was the only option. I wanted to buy a rack as fast as possible. And I'm also not sad that I have the flip down safeties. They're good for what they're doing. If you are already looking at them because you want that extra safety, don't be hesitant They are great, they are easy to use, but if you're a regular home gym owner who's using them, then there's probably no need for them, and you should spend your money on a different upgrade with Rogue. An honorable mention around the Rogue flip down safeties is the seat that Rogue also had in their portfolio that can be attached to the flip down safeties. I think it has been discontinued, but have a route around or ask them, because if you are getting the flip down safeties and you do safety bar squats and all of that West Side method kind of training, then I also think you should definitely get that seat that can be fitted between the flip down safeties if you're already buying them. Because I think that type of seat is way better and safer than what you usually see for box squats. The box squat setups that I usually see are rather unsafe to do by yourself. Yes, if you have a team around you, fair enough. But if you're doing it in a home gym, I think that flip down and seat combo is probably the safest way and most convenient way to do proper box squats without having a setup where you're potentially hurting yourself with a safety bar or with just general box squats. So that as an honorable mention. If you already get the flip down safeties, you might as well also throw in that little piece of metal that can go between to form a seat that you can adjust in height. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and tell your friends about my channel. Have a very nice day and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.